Good day, listener. Today in our calculation in physics, we are going to be dealing on calculation in motion. And today in calculation in motion, we are going to be bombarding most of the questions from the simple questions down to the complex question. So these are the formulas in calculating motion. So later on, we'll come into this particular formula under motion under gravity. Later, we are going to come under this formula. We are going to solve calculations on it. So this is the first question. So he said that a car moving with a velocity of 10 meters per second. So this has to do with the initial velocity. Accelerates uniformly at 1 meter per second square until reaches a velocity of 15 meters per second. Calculate. So the first question says we should calculate the time taken, which we are going to calculate it. Then the other question, the distance traveled during the acceleration, says that the velocity reached 100 meters from the place where the acceleration been. So now we are going to solve this simple question. As you follow me, you understand more. Then solution I. So we are dealing with I. So the question said that we should calculate the time taken. So in calculating the time taken, V is equals to U plus AC. Now we have it that V is equals to, the final velocity is equals to 15 meters per second. Now at this particular case, the initial velocity is 0. The initial velocity is 0. So we have U is equals to 0 meters per second. And the acceleration itself is equals to, the acceleration is 1 meter per second square. So the acceleration is 1 meter per second square. Sorry. Okay. So we are looking for the time taken. The time is unknown. So since the time is unknown, we now have it that V is 15. 15 is equals to U, which is 0, plus acceleration, which is 1, times the t, which is not given. So if that be the case, we now have it as 15 is now equals to, we are going to use board mass in this particular case. So using board mass, that means multiplication first. So that means 0 plus 1 times t will still give us the same thing as t. So we now have it as t equals to t. So 15 minus 0 is still going to give us 15t. So we have it at t, the time taken is equals to 15 seconds. So they say we should calculate the distance covered, which is x. So the distance covered, we have to calculate the distance covered, which is x. So we are going to look for a formula that suits this particular equation for us to be able to calculate the distance covered. But we know that velocity is given, the final velocity is equals to 15 meters per second. The final velocity is 15 meters per second. Then the initial velocity from the equation, the initial velocity here is what, 10 meters per second. So we have the initial velocity, which is 10 meters per second, which is 1 meter per second square. This particular equation for us to be able to calculate the distance traveled. So the V is given, which is 15. So the 15 square, because of the square here, equals to the U, which is 10 square, plus, sorry, write it in, yeah, so it is more better like this. So 15 square will give us what? 225, right? So which is equals to 10 square is going to give us 100. That means 10 times 10, which is still the same thing as 100. So plus 2 times 1 is going to give us 2. So 2 times s is going to give us 2x. S. I love the x. So if that be the case, what we are going to do, we are going to collect like terms, because we want to make s the subject of the formula. We are looking for x. So we are going to collect like terms. In collecting like terms now, we now have it that 2, this is going to jump equal sign. The 100 is jumping equal sign. When the 100 jump equal sign, is going to give us minus. So, which we have it as this. So, 225 minus 100 is going to give us about 125 equals to 2x. So if that be the case, then we are going to divide both sides by 2. Dividing both sides by what? 2. So that x will stand alone. So dividing both sides by 2, 2 cancel 2. So when 2 cancel 2, we have x is equals to 125 over 2. So 125 divided by 2 is going to give us what? 62.5 meter. So we have gotten the distance traveled, velocity, and the distance covered which is given 100 meter. So from the equation, from question number 3, we already given the distance covered. So we know that acceleration is equals to 1 meter per second square. So using this particular formula, because this is the formula to suit this particular equation, because we are looking for the final velocity according to the question. So looking for the final velocity now, we now have it that v square, which v square is the final velocity, is equals to the u is 10 square plus 2 times 1 times x. They say that x is equals to 100. So we now have it that v square, which is equals to 10 square will give us 100 plus 2 times 1 is going to give us 2. 2 times this is going to give us 200. So which we have it at v square is equals to this plus this is going to give us 300. V square, which is equals to 300. So we are going to, because we are looking for v, so we are going to square both sides, square root both sides, so that this square will cancel this. So we have it that v is now equals to this 300 is 17.32 meter per second. So if you square this, you are going to get that. So if that be the case, we are good to go with this part. Bullet fired at a wooden block of thickness 0.15 meter managed to penetrate the block. So the question says if the mass of the bullet is 0. So this is mass. They say if the mass of the bullet is 0.025 kilogram and the average resisting the force of the wood is this. So this is the force. So they say we should calculate the speed of the bullet just before it hits the wooden block. So this is the distance, and this is the mass, and this is the force. So they say we should calculate the V. Force, which is equals to this. And also we have it that the mass is given, mass which is this, and what else? Okay, the distance is also given, the thickness which represents the distance. So now if you look at this particular things are brought down, the acceleration is not given, so that means we need to calculate for the acceleration. So calculating the acceleration, but we know that force, we call that force is equals to A is equals to R over which the mass is given as 0.025. So so dividing this divided by this thing is same thing as is the same thing as 7500. So dividing it by this is the same thing as 300,000 meter per second square, which is the same thing as 3 times 10 raised to the power of 5 meter per second square. So this is our answer. Velocity, the speed. So they say we should calculate the speed. So in calculating the speed, we are using this formula: v squared u squared plus 2ax. Okay. So if that be the case, now we have v squared is equals to v squared u is equals to 0 plus 2 times the acceleration, which is this, 3 times 10 raised to the power of 5, 0.15. So multiplying, we have it as, this square is going to still give us 0. This times this is going to give us about 600,000. So times this is going to give us 90,000. So it's going to give us 90,000. So that means we are going to introduce square root. Square root to this. This square is going to cancel the square root. So we have it that v is equals to the square root of 90,000. So the square root of 90,000 is going to give us about 300. So v is equals to 300 meter per second. Thank you for watching this video. Please ensure you subscribe, like the video, and if you have any question on this particular topic, you can drop it in the comment box and be assured that we are going to solve the question.